Hi, my name's Taylin Bickham. This is a math cast on comparing unit fractions by reasoning about their size using fraction strips. This is intended for our Math 149 class, and I am Taylin Bickham. First, we have to discuss some vocab that will help us navigate through this lesson. First off, we're going to talk about fraction strips. Fraction strips are rectangular pieces to represent different parts of the same whole. Numerator. This is the top number in a fraction. Denominator. The bottom number in a fraction. The greater than sign is to your left. I think of both of these as like a mouth, and the less than sign goes the same way as an L shape, less than L. So that is how I remember these two. And you can use context clues in a math problem to figure these out, what they mean.
Each fraction strip is one whole. All of the fraction strips are equal in length. Color one fractional unit in each strip. Then answer the questions below. So, one strip of this whole of 1/2, this would look like this. 1 part of 1/4, which is our whole, would look like this. 1 part of 1/8, which is our whole, would look like this. 1 part of 1/3 would look like this. 1/3 is our whole. And lastly, 1 part of 1/6, which is the whole, would look like this. This could be a good reference when you are getting confused on which is greater, because you can obviously see which has bigger parts, and that could be useful. Our task is to determine which is greater, 1/3 or 1/2. Now, fractions are a bit tricky because you can't just compare which number is bigger. You would normally think 1/3 is bigger than 1/2, but as you can see here, 1/2 is actually bigger than 1/3. The reason behind this is, although the same whole, 1/2 has less parts, and that makes that fraction's parts bigger, as you can see. 1/3 has more parts that are smaller. So as we can see, 1/2 is greater than 1/3, countering what many people would think just by looking at them. Our word problem says, your friend Eric says that 1/6 is greater than 1/5 because 6 is greater than 5. Is Eric correct? As mentioned on the last slide, we can't just base how big the fractions are based off of the denominator, like we would when just comparing whole numbers. Something that will help us determine this is filling in our fraction strips. As you can see, we have the same whole with different sized parts. One has 5 parts and one has 6. We are going to fill in one part of those wholes. This is those parts filled in, and as you can see where 1/6 is, that has more parts that are smaller. 1/5 has less parts that are bigger. This would make 1/5 greater than 1/6, and Eric would be wrong because you can't just compare what numbers are in the fractions. It is how big the parts are in the whole. So overall, these are some things to keep in mind while comparing fractions. Comparing just the denominators with our regular whole number system won't work because, as we saw, the wholes may be the same, but the sizes and how big those parts are will determine how big the fraction is. The higher the denominator, the more parts the fraction will have, along with them being smaller. The lower the denominator, the less parts of the fraction will have, along with those being bigger. Lastly, online or pre-made fraction strips are the best to compare because they are measured accurately. When we hand draw, it's hard to make sure our measurements are accurate because we need those holes to be exactly the same or we won't see the difference between the shaded parts, which is the numerator.
Thank you for watching my math cast, and I used Engage New York Archives 3rd grade Module 5, Lesson 10. And my name's Taylin Bickham. Thank you.